Hi everyone, Luke here from Weekend Tour Pros. It's 2023 and after a short break we're back, and today we're reviewing these. It's the Cleveland Launcher XL irons. Now these irons are half the price of most other irons on the market. They can still get them brand new and custom fit in most places, so I wanted to review them to see if there's a way that you can get an absolute bargain and save yourself some money and not be tempted by all those new ones that are being released by the manufacturers at the moment. But just in case you are tempted by them, don't worry, I've got reviews of all of those coming onto the channel soon. So let's get down to the fitting bay, let's give these Cleveland irons a hit and see how they perform. And I don't want to spoil the surprise for you, but the performance is absolutely outstanding compared to my own set of Titleist, so stick with it. Okay, so we've made our way down to the fitting bay and I've got the Cleveland Launcher XL iron in my hand for the first time. Now, if you guys are new to the channel and haven't seen, I've also tested the Halo version of this iron, which is the one that looks more like a hybrid throughout the bag. Those ones are a bit like Marmite because they're very, very different in terms of how they look. But if you want to see that, I'll put a link to it in the top corner of the video right now, so you can go and check that one out first. Now this iron is more like your typical game improvement iron. It's a typical traditional iron design. It's got that thick top line that we're used to seeing. It's got a really chunky sole. Now a really interesting thing about this sole, which I'll try and get a video to show you, is it's not actually a complete flat sole. It's got a slight V shape to it. Now Cleveland say that that helps you to minimize the impact of a heavy or a fat shot. Now again, we're not going to be able to test that, and I think it'd be really hard for any golfer to test that, but it's something that if maybe you had these over 2 or 3 years, you might hit the odd heavy shot and go, that didn't feel like it had as much of a loss of impact as maybe with your previous set of irons. But yeah, it's something that Cleveland do. I love the fact they've got the iron number and the loft at the bottom. I know a few manufacturers do that, but I think it looks really cool. I love just the design of it actually. I think it's a really cool golf iron. I like the fact that they've painted in the bottom groove with white. Maybe you don't see that as much at address, but in this light, but maybe you would in certain lights. But yeah, really, really good looking golf iron. I really like the look of it. I hope it performs as well as it looks because it is really, really cool. One thing I would say before we get into hitting it, when I first picked up the iron, it felt really heavy, and I had to go back and pick up my own Titleist T200 just to see if I was dreaming that or not, and I definitely wasn't. This iron is really heavy, it feels really weighty at the bottom. Now, Cleveland do put a weight in the grip end as well. I think it's an 8-gram weight to help counterbalance the iron, and they do say that those two things together should help increase ball speeds and help you increase your distances, so we'll see that when we're out here. Now, if you've not noticed, it's a really windy, horrible day on the south coast of England where I'm filming today, and the wind is right into our faces. Now, we've got the TrackMan set up to normalise, so it should counteract that, but I did find when I was hitting my own irons today that wasn't hitting them that great, probably trying to hit them a bit too hard against that wind, so I'm going to try and just smooth this one off and see if we can get some good numbers with it. I'm really excited to give it a hit. Let's see how it performs, shall we? First shot, it has gone mega high. Now, I've hit it down the left, the wind's taken it a little bit further left, but it's gone mega high, really high. Yeah, 77 mile an hour on the club head speed, 102 on the ball, good start. 5,600 on the spin is really good. The carry's a little bit down, but again, I think that's typical of what I've been doing today. Land angle at 45.9. You know me, whenever I film, if you've watched my videos before, I love to see a land angle with a 7 iron that's about 45 degrees. Anything above that means it's going to land really soft. If we can get some good spin with it, we've got that stopping power. Felt great, really good. Felt really easy to hit, which again is one of the benefits of these irons. Numbers are good compared to what I've been delivering with my own club today. Let's hit a few more. That one started straighter. It's hard to tell because the wind is really, really strong into off the right, so it's pushing everything down the left. Yeah, 145 yards on the carry. Land angle at 44.9. Spinning again, really similar, 5,600. Ball speed, 105.9. Really good. Peak height of 80. Again, another thing, if you've watched my channel before, I talk a lot about peak heights with irons. So for us as the handicap golfer, I think what we're looking for is consistency. We're looking for maximum forgiveness, but the stopping power of an iron, it's great having a 160, 170 yard 7 iron, but if it's coming in super low and you can't hold the green, you can't stop it, there's no point having it because you're either going to have to club up and then try and thread it through bunkers. You want something you can hit high, come in soft, and land it with control. So what we're looking for is some good peak heights, some good spins, some good descent angles. All of those things give us control of our irons. If we can do that consistently, we've got a great iron. 2 shots in, this is doing it. Oh, wind is driving the rain now into me as well. So I've just got soaked as I've hit that. The iPad's getting a bit wet. Club head speed 78, again, really, really good. Ball speed 106.5, it's going up. Spin was a little bit lower there, 49. Carry has gone up because the spin's dropped down, but that land angle's still good, 44. Really good numbers again, launching at 20 degrees. Really strong start actually, and I like hitting it. If you watch my channel a lot, I like hitting all new golf clubs, but it's very rare that I don't like one. But this is just effortless actually. Oh yes, it just seems to fly quite powerfully. Like I say, we're into a really strong off the right wind here, which I hit a little bit of a cut anyway, so it's just exacerbating that and relying on TrackMan to normalise it. But yeah, then probably not as good a hit, 102 ball speed, peak height, still 74 feet, really good. Spin has jumped up, carry numbers a little bit down, but those land angle and those launches are all the same. Numbers are strong. It's so good again. 106 ball speed again, a little bit lower peak height, still around the 70 feet. Spins jumped up there, 6,800, carry 140, land angle 42.6. Oh, that's the best of the lot. I've actually managed to hold that against the wind for a lot longer, so it was obviously a better strike. Let's see what the numbers show there. Yeah, 106 ball speed, peak height 74, spinning at 6,400, carry 143, launch at 18.4, land angle 42. Again, just strong numbers, really strong numbers. Oh my. Just as the rain's getting heavier and into us, that's the best strike of the lot. I'm going to try and just protect the iPad a little bit here. Might have to move it in a second. 78.7 on the club head, the ball speed over 107, which is great. Peak height 77, spinning at 5.6, okay, a little bit lower than some of them, but it's still great. Carry 149, the longest one we've hit. Land angle still at 42, launch at 18. The numbers are great, guys. The numbers are great. In truth, I don't feel like I need to hit any more with this. It just does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a really good iron. I like it. If I was hitting it and it was performing as well as any other iron that I was hitting in a fitting, I'd buy it. It's half the price, right? Or nearly half the price. It's great. I love it. But I'm going to hit a couple more because I am loving it. Just a couple more to finish. See what else we can get out of it. That's another beautiful shot. The iPad's still getting wet. I've actually managed to hold that one against the wind completely. It's almost hailing in here now, hailstones. 104 ball speed, 70 feet peak height. That's because I pulled it a little bit against the wind. Spinning at 5.4, carrying at 143, launching at 18.3, landing at 42.4. It's great. It's almost like I'm hitting almost identical numbers shot after shot with it, which is all you want out of an iron, is consistency. Yeah, I've only ever gamed Cleveland wedges before. I think that was my first set of wedges I owned before I moved to Vokeys. I always thought they were great. I love the halo irons. This is great. If you're looking for a game improvement iron, you're testing stealth, you're testing road, test this. It's great. One more. Come on, let's finish on one more good one. Let's see if we can hold it against that wind again. Oh, I've caught that one a bit heavy. Again, this is not going to test that sole because we're not on grass, but I've hit it a bit heavy, so I'm expecting the carry number to drop to the 130s. Yeah, ball speed's a little bit down because I caught it heavy, 101. Peak height's down, the spin's down. But look, that's a good shot. I won't include that in the set when we do the comparison at the end, but I think it's a good shot just to show how forgiving it is, because I've still hit it a really good long way, considering the fact that I caught it heavy. I could tell that straight away. The numbers reflect it, but they're still really good. I don't want to finish on that one, so let's hit one more. It's a shame. I've hit it a little bit cutty, but it's better than the last one. If anything, it's not the best strike, but I think the numbers will be okay. Ball speed 102, peak height again down, I didn't hit it that great. Spins jumped up because I caught it a little bit thin, I think there, 6,700, carry at 132, land angle at 38. If that's a bad strike with this, like the last two you've seen me fat one, you've seen me thin one. Again, I won't include them in the data set when we do the comparison to my own iron because I want you to see a fair comparison. But yeah, if that's what happens with a fat and a thin, like they're both performed really consistently. They've probably gone like 90% of distance. Okay, so we're done hitting shots with the Cleveland Launcher XL, and before we go home and look at the two data sets side by side, because I think it's always important to do that and compare those feels that I'm having in the bay with the real data when I get home, I just want to give my initial thoughts in the bay. Initial thoughts are, love the looks of it. I think it's a really good looking golf iron, really cool iron. Yes, it does have those sort of game improvement looks of a chunky sole and a thick top line, but it's really modern, it's really sleek. In terms of performance, been really impressed with what I've seen in the bay. Again, need to go home and check it, but I think it's performed really well. It's made me feel good hitting it, which is all you want a golf iron to do. And I know if I was certainly in the market for game improvement irons, and I was also looking to try and save myself a bit of money, I'd definitely consider giving these a test. They're £549 in the UK for a set. That puts them nearly half the price of other irons. Like, what's not to test? Cleveland Strixon makes some really good golf clubs. This one is absolutely no different. The weight of it, I was a bit worried about at the beginning, but I love that extra weighted feel of it. It really performs well. So yeah, let's go home, let's look at the numbers, see if I still feel the same, but my conclusion as I walk out of here today is these are great, I'd give them a hit. Let's go home. Okay, so just got home and had a chance to look at the data sets side by side. At the top in the blue, you can see the batch of shots that you've just seen me hit with the Cleveland Launcher XL, but I've taken those last two shots out of the batch like I promised you that I would, and underneath a batch of shots that I hit with my own Titleist T200 shortly before I started filming. Now what you can see here is the two clubs perform nearly identical, and actually in some respects with this batch of shots the Cleveland Launcher slightly outperforms my own Titleist T200. You'll see that the club head speeds were nearly identical, so I was putting the same amount in, and that ball speed was fractionally higher. The carry distance was half a yard up, so not a lot in it. Spin number though was 200 odd revs higher. The launch angle was slightly higher at 19.6 versus 19. My peak height was slightly higher and my land angle was slightly better too. So all of the components that we need to hit a good strong 7-iron into the green and stop it there, we could see that for ourselves with the Cleveland Launcher XL iron, which is fantastic. Now I just wanted to show you the comparison with those two shots at the end added in. The reason I wanted to do that is when I first saw it, the numbers were near identical, and I just had to show you the ball speeds identical, 104.3, the smashes were identical, the launch angle identical at 19, the peak heights nearly identical, and those land angles also nearly identical. I think that just demonstrates how much of a forgiving golf club the Cleveland Launcher XL is, because even with those shots added in, it was still able to keep up with my Titleist T200. Now just to move on to my dispersion, it wasn't great with the club, but I put that purely down to me and the conditions. Even though we had TrackMan normalised, that really strong wind and hail that was coming into me in the bay off the right hand side was making it hard for me to commit to my shot shape, so put that down to me as a handicapped golfer and not the iron itself. And finally, just to finish, always like to show you my impact location with the two batches of shots that I hit. You'll see on the left hand side with my own Titleist T200, slightly lower on the face and slightly more towards the heel, and with the Cleveland Launcher XL, slightly higher on the face and slightly towards the toe. Don't know if that's anything to do with the different weighting of the club. You may remember at the beginning me talking about that extra weightiness of the launcher iron, but it could just be down to me being a handicapped golfer and two different batches of shots. But overall, really strong performance. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the video now, and just go back to that question I put in the thumbnail for the video of, are these the best value irons on the market at the moment? My answer is that I think they are. You've been able to see in this video that I really like how they look, really like how they feel, and I really like how they perform, competing fantastically well against my own Titleist T200 on the data sets that we've been able to show. Now, one thing I would say is I think everybody's money is tight at the moment, so before you do go out there and spend maybe £1,200 on a new set of irons, I definitely think they should be on your test list. Think what you could do if you had £1,200 at the moment. You could buy a set of these and still have the same amount of money left over to potentially have some golf lessons, which might make you better overall than new clubs, or you might be able to spend that money on the rest of your golf bag by getting a new driver, getting some new wedges or some other golf equipment. So I definitely think they should be on your test list because they are such fantastic value for money. Now all that remains for me to say is if you like the video, then please do consider giving it a thumbs up. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Do you think these irons are value for money? Would you put them on your test list? Would you game them? Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.